Definitely needs to put up some good results, but then again, perhaps Hasu did choose this map. Forge fast expansion, very nice, very easy to execute, and we'll see if Gosu user plays to the meta style, or if he just tries to rinse and repeat with his very heavy economic style that we saw earlier. As this game now gets underway, it looks like Hasu will be spawning as the green Protoss. Meanwhile, Gosu user will be spawning as the purple Zerg. I always find it kind of unfair when when purple is chosen by a Zerg player, as it's so hard to see units on top of creep. But Gosu user spawning on the bottom right hand side, meanwhile Hasu spawning on the top left.
Yeah, so we will have the cross positions here. Doesn't matter too much in this one, though. I guess Gosu user doesn't want to be expanding towards his opponent. Possibly rather be expanding away if they're both top or both bottom. But again, can't spawn both on the west or both on the east on this map. That's something that's true even on the Blizzard standard ladder map version. But MLG has added just the supply depot, and I don't think too many other changes to this one, as we do see the low ground pylon for Hasu, so he's probably going to be going for that Forge Fast Expand.
Most definitely going for that Forge Fast Expand. Gosu user now also with a hatchery continuing to just drone away. It most likely will be a 14 hatch, as this probe isn't going to be able to spot it out quite in time. He is scouting in the wrong direction, but one of the benefits of scouting out against a Zerg, just look for the creep. If you don't see the creep, move away and then go into another location, so you do end up scouting just a little bit faster. As Gosu user changing things up and going for perhaps an extractor pool.
Yeah, and I think this is a smart play. Most Zergs are doing this at this point. You can go for that hatch first, but getting out Lings is going to basically make it so cannon play really going to be out of the picture here. If you go hatch first and Hasu can place down a pylon, then you have to pull drones, and then if he gets that cannon to finish and does some cancel micro and gets one or two cannons to finish, it can deny your natural, and that's just a pain. So you go for the gas, you go for the pool, you get out a Ling or two, kill that probe, kill possibly the pylon that Hasu will place down, and then you can get up that expansion around 20. So I think this is still pretty standard play from Gosu user. ZVT is basically the only matchup that you can still go hatch first and not have too many problems.
Yeah, right now we are seeing Hasu getting that Nexus, so he is expanding before his opponent, but Hasu did end up delaying his Harvester count just a little bit, and right now he's sitting at 18 over 18, currently supply blocked. It's going to be a little bit of time before he gets in another pylon, and losing some very critical mining or probe production time, and may end up hurting him in the long run, as he's still sitting at 18 over 18.
Yeah, especially since that pylon that he just created is in the natural of Gosu user, so that's going to be taken down in the next minute or two here. He's going to have to add another one back home, and we saw Hasu go for the Forge before the Nexus. A lot of Protoss players having success going Nexus first, not making that Forge, but Hasu playing it very safe. He wanted to get the pool timing, make sure something like a 6 or 7 pool wasn't coming. And we do see that pylon does go down for Gosu user. The hatchery goes down as well, and he's got Lings streaming across the field here and hoping to find the front door open.
Yeah, right now what Hasu needs to do is Hasu needs to keep control of this probe. He needs to make sure that if he does see any Zerglings try to poke their head up that ramp, that he can quickly throw down a gateway. He's going to use the Nexus for the additional food, now sitting at 23 over 36, so he is going to be a little bit in the free and clear right now, but we'll see how this works in the long run. A Zergling is currently trying to look for one probe. The probe is in the center over here, and it looks like he will not get scouted out. But really interesting play, as finally Hasu going into that cybernetics core, and he's going to be pretty safe. He is also getting the level 1 weapons upgrade, curiously enough, so any zealots and stalkers coming out will have an attack advantage. But right now Gosu user having a license to drone off of 2 bases. I believe he's going to continue to train up more queens, already having his second queen to take care of that second hatchery already, and then move into the mid game.
Yeah, it's interesting that probe in the northeast quarter was pretty safe there. The Zergling basically did a ring around the rosy around it. And as you mentioned, we do have the +1 coming out for Hasu. And typically that means that we're going to have a big gateway timing attack off of 2 bases here. So possibly see a 5 or 6 gate You know, you just add a bunch of gateways, you get your +1, maybe even +2, and you push out with a very strong attack before the Zerg's third is really able to kick in. Ghost User having scouted that, we'll see whether he goes for a quick third.
All right, and Hasu apparently taking a strategy out of time right now, where he's having level 1 weapons upgrade on Zealots and perhaps going into double Void Rays or double Stargates all the way across the map. We'll see what this means as there are overlords in position, and I'm not quite sure what Gosu User is going to be able to do to really stop it. He does have a layer, and he should be able to get into a Hydralisk Den rather quickly. I don't believe Infestors are going to be the proper counter unit at all. You definitely need Hydralisk in order to shut this down, but the Overseer is going to be able... Is it going to actually spot the Stargates? No, it does not spot the Stargates. It's now going to fly over. He does see one, he does see two, and now Gosu User perhaps wondering what is going on.
Yeah, I forgot that Hasu was teammates with Time, so he does know about this +1 Zealot and Stargate double Void Rays coming out. I'm not sure whether Time used double Stargate or whether a single one, and might have come a little bit faster. I think it was off one base as well. So we'll see how Ghost User handles this. It looks like a Spore Crawler going down in the natural already. Not in the main so far, though. I think one drone is meant to place down a Spore Crawler in the main, and he just has out the 2 queens at the moment and third on the way.
Yeah, Spine Crawler is also being set up as well, and this is going to be a problem. Gosu User doesn't have nearly as many queens as he did in the previous matchup. That Spine Crawler is going to be in a little bit of an issue, and you can also see that Hasu making sure that there is currently nothing, but the Zealots need to run their back up against the wall. They do have level 1 weapons upgrade, so they are going to be able to slice through these Zerglings rather quickly, and I think Gosu User completely mistimed that, not realizing that there was level 1 weapons upgrade already. So Hasu now getting up that all-important third Void Ray, but he now has 2 operational Stargates that are not training anything, and this may end up hurting as another Void Ray finally being added to the mix.
We've got 5 Infestors coming out for Gosu User, so looks like his entire army is going to be Infestors, and we'll see what he's able to do with them now. 6 Infestors, so he's going to have to delay here with the Spine Crawler, the Queens, and the Spore Crawler. We'll see whether he's able to do it before the Infestors.
Yeah, so you can see one Void Ray. The Void Ray is getting focused down by that Spore Crawler, now being forced to back off. It looks like one Queen will get taken down. Another Queen may get taken down, but there is, from that Fungal Growth, the Fungal Growth only does 40 damage per attack right now. As the Spore Crawler, one Void Ray getting overzealous may get taken down. And Hasu losing a very expensive Void Ray early without really getting that much damage. And I believe he took down 1, perhaps 2 Queens. But that was it, and that is going to hurt Gosu User just a little bit, but Gosu User can train up those queens off of those hatcheries and layers rather easily, and we'll see what's going to continue to happen as more Zealots are being added, and now the Cybernetics Core are going to be taken down.
Yeah, he doesn't need any Stalkers or Sentries. Looks like it's going to be all Zealots and Void Rays from here on out, though he did replace that Cybernetics Core. And now he's pushing out with Zealots, a few probes as well to place down a proxy pylon or 2. And we do see a number of changelings moving across the field, going to be scouting this position, or this attack. And Hasu might be pulling back. I'm not quite sure whether he's going to keep going with this attack. At the very least, needs to deny the third, which Gosu User is trying to get up.
Yeah, he's going to try to get that third base over here. It looks like Gosu User is going to be establishing that up in just a moment. Proxy pylons are being placed down. Hasu being very aggressive. I like this style coming in from Hasu, as Hasu in the past has normally not been this aggressive, and now with these proxy pylons he will be able to warp up onto the high ground, and while leaving the Zealots on the Stalkers on the low ground in order to try to protect, and now sentries being added as well. So Hasu with a rather large army gonna try to engage, and the Void Rays are already coming in. A Fungal Growth does hit, and massive force fields coming in as well. Very nice defense, but that Spine Crawler is still within range as another Fungal Growth in the air.
Yeah, really needs to start splitting some of these units as we've got Zealots being warped in on the high ground. We'll see whether those are able to make it down to these Infestors. The Infestors still have a lot of energy as we see a ton of Infested Terrans coming out. Hasu really needs to pull back, wait for those to sort of time out. He still has these 3 Void Rays, still has some Zealots as well, and definitely needs to make sure that he denies the third from going up for Ghostly User. The supply is relatively even at this point, 68 to 70, 72 to 69, going back and forth. So I really like the aggression coming here from Hasu. We'll see whether he's able to end this.
Yeah, Hasu currently just waiting for the shields to naturally recharge at his main base. I think what he could do right now is he could just try to warp in a lot of units up on the high ground, put a force field on the ramp, and then just attack the main base. But the Infestors are burrowed, so burrowed Infestor is definitely going to be a problem. There's a force field there, and now the units are going to try to make their way underneath. More infested Terrans coming in, and now this is not looking good for Hasu. It looks like Hasu's very heavy investment into this attack is not going to work out well, as Gosu User has started his hatchery at the 3 o'clock expansion location.
Yeah, I mean, Ghostly User using quite a bit of energy on the Infested Terran. They're going to time out once again, and he does have Burrow, so I'm not sure we have any sort of detection here from Hasu besides the 1 cannon. He has yet to add a robotics. He's basically gone all in here with a lot of gateways and this Stargate play with the Void Rays down to the 1 Void Ray, and now we see these units moving right over the top of the Infestors. See a force field going down, and now we'll see whether Hasu is able to do some damage here.
Yeah, the Infested Terrans have spawned up. Force fields now coming in. Infested Terrans going to finish off those Void Rays, and beautifully done by Gosu User to trap all of the Zealots on the inside. The problem is that there is still a lot of Zealots that can deal a lot of damage to this mineral line, but a fungal growth later and a lot of Zerglings later, it looks like this is not looking good for Hasu's units. More Zealots now trying to make their way in, but running head on into a group of Infested Terrans. Yeah, time, the ultimate enemy of Infested Terrans, as it looks like more Zealots will be pushing in once more.
You will see whether these Zealots with the +1 are able to go through all of these Infested Terran, and Infested Terran have that great DPS, doing 8 damage every 0.86 seconds, so they are shredded quickly by the +1 Zealots, and we'll see whether the Zealots are able to do basically critical damage here. A number of Spine Crawlers trying to go down for Gosu User, the infinite force field going on that ramp, and Hasu just keeps the pressure coming with all of these +1 Zealots. More and more being warped in off of all these gateways. The third has been canceled by Gosu User, so trying to use all of his remaining minerals to defend here. Another Void Ray comes in, starts working and charging up on this extractor, and every time Gosu User throws up an Infested Terran, those Zealots are right on it and take it down quickly.
Yeah, these Zealots, the perfect counter to Infested Terrans right now, and it looks like Gosu User now in a bit of trouble, and Hasu coming in with a very, very surprisingly effective. I thought this attack would have been pushed back as soon as I saw that many Infested Terrans. The Infestors accidentally unburrow for just a second. It looks like that Spore Crawler unable to get focused down because a bunch of Overlords are hovering right on top of it. But the mass Zealots dealing so much damage, as they are not armored units. They are melee, but they take reduced damage here, as massive numbers of Spine Crawlers are now trying to come in, as the Infested Terrans and the Zealots are just currently stuck all together.
Yeah, Hasu, I think, might need to just pull back, take down the Natural, and that should force the GG. I mean, I'm not sure whether he should be taking on all these Spine Crawlers and the Infested Terran being thrown out here. We do have Zealots that just took down the Natural, so perhaps Hasu is too far ahead to lose this one, but I don't like him taking on all these Infested Terran. As you said, he can just wait for them to time out, as we have all of these Infestors. Wow, 17 Infestors on the field for Gosu User, and he's going to try to use those to defend against just the mostly Zealots, which Hasu has.
Yeah, right now it's going to be very interesting to see. We are getting into a robotics facility and the Templar Archives. That's exactly what Hasu needs to do. Observers plus feedback equals dead Infestors. But I believe Gosu User is just too far behind right now. It's really going to come down to whether or not Hasu allows Gosu User to get back into this game. Archons are now being merged, and if you thought Zealots were effective against Infested Terrans, Archons just absolutely rip through them even further. They have more hit points, they have a range attack, they're not armored, so they deal, they take small amounts of damage, as well as the Infestors are now just playing whack-a-mole against those Zealots here. And where is that Observer?
Yeah, but I feel like this is actually a good investment for Hasu, trading 500 minerals worth of Zealots for tons of fungals. The Zealots, just those light biological units, don't take the bonus damage from fungal growth, so it takes quite a few fungals to take them down. And Ghost User just now trying to establish that that natural once again is about halfway complete. And as you mentioned, Archon's on the way for Hasu. He's actually got a third up and running. If I was Hasu, I would take maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, get a few more rounds of gateway units, and then just push out for the win.
Yeah, most definitely. These Infestors, though, are going to be able to stop a lot of armies. The real problem is whether or not, I don't believe Neuroparasite has been researched. No, it has not. So those Archons are just going to be able to simply walk over the army. Level 2 weapons upgrade about to be completed. They're going to be dealing 43 damage per attack. Not quite enough in order to destroy an Infestor an infested Terran instantaneously, but that splash damage is really going to start to add up very quickly as you now see an Observer making its way out and sees this very large army of Infestors. The Infestors do move slower, though, as the Archons do move faster. Are they going to perhaps go for a push? It looks like this may be happening. And where is that Observer there? Infested Terrans trying to spawn up, but you're going to see massive feedback come in, and Gosu User, I believe, has to say GG.
Yeah, down to 32 food, and as these Infested Terran are cleaned up there's the GG. So Hasu coming off a very strong game, taking down Gosu User.
Yeah, that was... I don't want to say that it was a surprise to me. I have seen Hasu come in with the all-kill, a reverse all-kill, but it's always exciting to see Hasu live better than my expectations in stopping a very powerful, very strong macro-style Gosu User here to even up the series at 1 game apiece.